We've been Facebook friends for a couple months now, Jared Anderson, and today was the first day I got to meet him, so this is fun. Jared teaches world religions at Westminster College. You've been there how long?
About 4 years.
About 4 years, as he's been working on his PhD. You done?
Not yet.
Oh, so close. You may not have seen this, but on my Facebook wall, I announced this event and said that you are going to make sense of religious belief and meaning-making in our modern world. So, good luck.
I find this environment very fitting for my remarks, as we are in an LDS culture celebrating a Unitarian Universalist service in a Presbyterian church. After having had introduced rituals of different world religions. In brief, my remarks are titled, Why Religion? I want to begin my presentation with a challenge. Get ready to think hard. Can any of you come up with any aspect of culture, any at all, that motivates more powerfully and universally than religion? Sure, for many, religion may not be the most important force in their lives, but think globally, think historically. I submit that there is no other cultural technology that does everything religion does, and as potently. Family, nationalism, and self-interest come close. But does any other aspect of culture influence private thoughts and actions as religion does? But what is the outcome of this singular, transformative, driving force? Does religion raise us to the heights of human potential? Well, unfortunately, not so much. Most often, religion shapes people like nothing else to follow Iron Age worldviews and ethics. Thus, in the midst of crises, local and global, people dedicate their resources to championing the values and even explanations of a world long dead, like debating the historicity of Noah's Ark. A few minutes cannot do justice to these most profound questions, but after outlining theories on the origins of religion, I will discuss what religion does for us as individuals, what religion does for us as communities, and then sketch some problems that arise from the mismatch of human evolution and the modern world. In conclusion, I will propose a thought exercise as to how we might address this disjunction, thus aligning the power of religion with the desperate needs of present and future. So first, the origins of religion. It is staggering to realize that we do not know of a single culture, not one, untouched by religion. As Steven Pinker has written, in all human cultures, people believe that the soul lives on after death, that ritual can change the physical world and divine the truth, that illness and misfortune are caused and alleviated by a variety of invisible person-like entities. Why is religion so universal? Where did it come from? Daniel Dennett gives an answer to a question I myself had not even considered. What did religion evolve from? What were its wild precursors? He makes the compelling claim that religion and humans co-evolved. That religion developed not for our benefit, but for its own survival. Thus, ideas or memes competing for believers survive not because they are good, but because they are memorable. They stick in our heads, haunt us even. Think about annoying songs. Frozen has been in our head. That's not so annoying, it's fantastic, but still. Sticky. Or disturbing scenes from a movie. Or that juicy bit of gossip you can't help but share. Surprisingly, the counterintuitive aspects of religion, therefore, play a key role in its persistence. Another adaptive element of belief in the supernatural lies in the differing costs of false positives and false negatives. In a dangerous environment, if you assume something is out to get you, and you're wrong, you're at most embarrassed, but probably not even that, just more alert. And get ulcers eventually. If something really is out to get you, and you fail to notice it, you end up as lunch. This explains why the earliest belief in the supernatural, as far as we can tell, was not in an invisible friend, benevolent God, but rather malevolent spirits. So the more superstitious survived. And then to top it all off, if someone did happen to be skeptical of the supernatural, the tribe would likely kill that person as a witch. Who but a witch would not believe in the efficacy of anti-witchcraft rituals? Finally, a fascinating explanation for our belief in God stems from our essential ability to read each other, to ascribe intention to a look or gesture. Is the person coming toward us friend or enemy, romantically interested or hostile? What are they thinking and feeling? This ability, called mentalizing, enables social survival. It is thus easy to imagine that this same ability that in essence creates versions of other people in our own heads, just digest that for a moment, could also create a god or gods with specific desires and requirements for us. This phenomenon is a more specific manifestation of our more general adaptive tendency to find patterns, meaning, and attribute agency in almost everything around us. Little children, and I tried this out on a hike, if you ask them why there are leaves on the ground, or why a rock is shaped a certain way, they'll say, because someone made it that way. And I even asked my 3-year-old, you're sure that gravity didn't make the rocks fall and they eventually gathered in the path? No, someone put them there. As with belief, so it was with rituals. Quote, repetitive therapeutic rituals based on dissociative process provided survival advantages to those with genes allowing openness to ritual suggestion. Dissociative process associated with rituals facilitated biologically based forms of unusual experience. I'm going to unpack that a little bit. Trance, apparitions, paranormal dreams, waking extrasensory perceptions, and out-of-body experiences. So we evolved to be open to all of these elements. Significantly, rituals, including healing rituals around childbirth, for example, were prevalent. Thus, we could say that in the ancient world, if you did not believe in magical rituals, you had no health insurance. Having sketched a few theories about the origin of religion, I turn now to what religion does for us individually and collectively. So why religion, individuals? What do people need? How do we thrive? I am not just talking about happiness, that thankfully shifting post hoc construction, but rather well-being. Positive psychology has highlighted 5 aspects of individual thriving, expressed in the acronym PERMA. How does religion contribute to each of these elements? Positive emotion. Religious narratives and rituals in a social setting make us feel good. Unless you're under the age of 12, and then they bore us. Music, architecture, communal meals, these and other aspects of religion, including the other elements of PERMA, contribute to the feel-good aspect of well-being. That's why we're here. Engagement. Religion demands a great deal of us and provides opportunities for intensive involvement. We thus have a chance for flow experiences as we excel at difficult tasks and learn skills we might otherwise not. Time passes quickly as we immerse ourselves in rituals and activities. Relationship. Religion both binds and divides, but even so, it creates communities so powerful they are matched only by, and sometimes rival, family units. In fact, members of religious groups often create fictive kin groups as they call themselves brother or sister, and otherwise create intentional families of co-believers. Further, people often, sometimes even as a rule, select friends and partners from within their religious communities, binding religion and relationships tighter and tighter. Meaning. This is perhaps the pinnacle of religious achievement, meaning. Sam Harris has challenged the world to come up with a religious answer superior to its scientific analog. And I believe it is found in the simple question, why are we here? Science can accurately describe how we got here, but not why. For questions of meaning, myth reigns supreme. Additionally, most, if not all, religions teach that each individual is cosmically important, a truth science satisfactorily squashes and depressingly, and has a particular relationship with the divine, creating a distinctive sense of identity and purpose. Achievement. Related to engagement, religion provides opportunity for success, both real and imagined. When people fulfill the demands of their religion, they gain both real skills applicable to other aspects of life, as well as achievements particular to their beliefs and groups. Both types of achievement are important. The in-group, so-called invented success, achievement creates a sense of distinctiveness and cohesion and particular status. In addition, religion benefits individuals in other powerful ways. It provides structures to process guilt, to forgive self and others. It organizes space and time. God functions as an attachment figure, loving and watching over us, even when there is no one else. Prayer focuses us and allows us to tap into memory and wisdom, like where are our keys? Religion helps us feel a sense of control in our lives and manage disappointment when we fail to attain it, which is most of the time. Importantly, religion also provides what could be called a prosthetic morality, as well as explanations for the tragedies of life. Questions of right and wrong prove impossibly complex, and even suboptimal ethics packaged over millennia and ready for consumption and defensiveness fulfill important roles. And to return to my beginning point, for better and worse, religion can push us to heights and depths of human experience we otherwise would not attain. It engages our entire evolutionary brain to motivate us to action. Rites of passage transition us across roles and identities. Rituals and belief both have a demonstrable impact on our health. Believing can make it so when it comes to physical and emotional wellness. The power of a belief in a literal God and literal miracles can humble the agnostic among us. Losing ourselves in something larger than ourselves meets specific human needs, and religion offers that feeling of self-transcendence and abundance. To different degrees, we all crave the stability, structure, beauty, and meaning religion can provide. Why religion? Communities. It is not an overstatement to say that humans thrive and conquer socially. Cooperation, almost unique to human beings and insects, which is why they also rule the world, accounts for the unparalleled and threatening success of our species. Because society requires compromise between the needs of the group and the individual, there is no ideal. But religion facilitates stability, cooperation, and pro-sociality. In short, the very foundation of a functional society. First, stability. Scholars have proposed that our brain grew to its unprecedented size so that we could remember our relative social status. Sounds like high school, I know. Religion supports stability by providing hierarchies and myths that affirm our roles and place in our communities. We respect and revere our leaders because God backs them. At least, that is how the story has gone. Cooperation. Why can't we all just get along? In this simple and impossible question rest the seeds of cataclysm and salvation of the human race, even the world. The anthropologist Richard Sosis has argued at length that a terrifying thesis. It is precisely the costly, even harmful, and illogical aspects of religious ritual, costly signaling, that potently engineer trust and cooperation. We may not trust someone's promise that they'll help us out in the hunt the next day, but if they go through a painful ritual that brings no other benefit, like sticking a bone through their penis, We can trust that they are committed enough to also help us. This explains the unique bond among those who have gone through the same difficult rites of passage. In our culture, think of fraternity and sorority hazing, with all of its positives and problematic aspects, or boot camp and shared experience of combat. Prosociality. This is the fancy term for gets along nicely with others, including helping others. Amazingly, most people want to be and to do good. But we want to do it on our own terms, when we feel like it, when we get around to it. How many donated today to the community? Religion motivates us beyond our own preferences and comfort to care for those in need. It is true that religion encourages us to care for those in our in-groups, while sometimes fostering hostility toward out-groups. But it turns out that it's our people who are the ones most important for our survival. And it should not be overlooked that many religions contain rigorous calls to care for the stranger, even the enemy. Homo religiosus in the modern world. We live in a culture where, perhaps for the first time in the history of the entire world, everything is negotiable. We choose to a large degree our friends, our careers, and even our communities. Meaning and even morality must be discussed and defended. This openness is thrilling. This openness is terrifying. However we face this disruption personally, we need to confront a sobering fact. We are not evolved for this modern world. Not completely, at least. We human beings adapt on at least 3 levels: biologically, culturally, and technologically. And these elements are currently in tension. Our social groups are larger than ever before, which triggers social uncertainty and anxiety, yet many of us have never felt so alone. We resort to damaging coping mechanisms, such as overeating or self-medicating with chemicals or the media. And our primitive brains congratulate us on finding high-caloric foods, necessary for survival, or making alliances with powerful figures such as Brad Pitt. We then become depressed when our rational minds remind us that these benefits are only make-believe. How many problems and challenges stem from the disconnect between our evolution to thrive and cooperate in small hunter-gatherer societies, and also run around a lot in the fresh air, and the frenetic global scale of the requirements of our modern world? And where does religion fit into all of this? Well, it also has adapted over time, and for societies more recently than tribal groups, agricultural groups, as it turns out. With only a bit of overstatement, these groups are still ill-suited for modernity. With only a bit of overstatement, I propose that most denominations, actual structured religions, leave members caught between 2 extremes: fully embrace the truth claims of the religion, those are called fundamentalists, which results in rejecting science, since remember, the underlying worldviews of these religions, such as Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, date back thousands of years, which again is why we have very real and important debates about Noah's Ark. Or, alternatively, embrace modernity and sacrifice the core of their religious beliefs. Ask someone at a coffee-banned version of Christianity whether people are really saved by Jesus, and find what answers you get. And if we decide to reject religion, move past it, in part precisely because it does not seem pertinent in our lives, do we also forfeit the benefits I have just outlined? Pay attention to my precise argument. I am not claiming that every person has a God-shaped hole in their souls, or even that every person has a soul, and that every person needs to be religious. I'm pointing out that religion engages in powerful and possibly unique ways with human nature, and that we therefore need to take it seriously. Yet all solutions seem somehow less than ideal. The old no longer works. The new has not yet arrived. Whither religion? So what can we do with religion? Must we condemn it as flawed and obsolete, leaving it behind as we forge forward into a rationalistic utopia? Are we limited to the buffet of fundamentalist denominations or their diluted descendants? Is it possible to gain the benefits of religion while mitigating the costs? can we even direct so powerful a force as we are trying to right here? First, I want to praise the good in current approaches to religion. Despite their flaws, and in part, perhaps because of those apparent flaws, organized denominations do much good. Just ask yourself how much money the Catholic Church raises, or the LDS Church, and what it does with that money. And though progressive, liberal forms of religion may soften or dismiss foundational truth claims, they can be entertaining, as well as meaningful and service-oriented. Yet it still seems that from among current options, we still have to choose between a more conservative religion that brings particular benefits and costs, even potential harm, or a more progressive, less structured religion that, however enjoyable, good at service, and so forth, does not engage our natures as fully as does its more traditional forms. I want to conclude with a thought experiment, or three, of how we can bring religion into closer alignment with the needs of the modern world. Functionally, we need to bring religion forward 3,000 years. Sounds simple, right? Different approaches will work for different people, but I think with three approaches we can pretty much serve everyone. These three approaches are, and again, these are thought exercises, remember, religion's so good, it need not be true. What's there to find a problem with that? Buffet spirituality and high humanism. Nothing to do with thought, unfortunately. Religion's so good, it need not be true. In our information-saturated social media world, religions have entered a free market competition for adherence that will require denominations to become best versions of themselves and eventually will even bring around the LDS Church. I propose a mediation approach to each denomination that would, for example, bring about that result. Imagine, if you will, a sympathetic former member atheist, I'm sure there are none of them here, and an open-minded literal believer of the particular denomination who happen to care for each other. And you require these two individuals to hash out their religion. I suggest that the believer would keep the religion distinctive and recognizable, and the atheist would require it to be good and defensible, independent of its truth claims. This would account for all religiously affiliated people. So we've now taken care of all religious people. What about the rest of us? First, we have the option of buffet spirituality, somewhat like this. This is the approach advocated by Linda Botton, Greg Epstein, and others. Individuals can be empowered to pick and choose what they like from religion and discard the rest. They can have some New Age spirituality with their side of yoga. And this approach has many benefits, but a fundamental problem remains that buffet spirituality works best for driven, motivated, self-motivated, privileged people who already have their community and identity needs met. It works very well for rich white men. High humanism is my final thought exercise for you. We can meet the needs fulfilled by religion through either a handful of resources, that's buffet spirituality, or through a single holistic approach, thereby functionally replacing religion. I applaud Unitarian Universalism as one of the most successful communities that does precisely this to a large degree. But I would gently suggest that even the best falls short, in part because it's not specific enough, not finite enough, paradoxically. Is Unitarian Universalism, or the Harvard Humanist Community Project, something one converts to, or something that one attends when they feel like it? A friend of mine summarized these shortcomings well when he said, "I just finished reading Epstein's Good Without God. I liked it. I agree with everything in it. But there is nothing in this book that made me raise my hand and say, 'Yes, I am a humanist!'" I propose two solutions to consider. We can reverse engineer religion, taking all of the elements of religion that powerfully engage with our human nature, aspects such as music and liturgy, communal meals, specific narratives organized into a canon, embodied worship, rites of passage, and so forth. This basic form of high church humanism would function like rigorous religion, but would align with current needs and worldviews. Even with high humanism, however, something is missing. We need, as humans, specificity. We need identity. We need core stories to return to again and again. So, ironically, one of the strengths of Unitarian Universalism and liberal religion, which is its broadness, its acceptance, its progressiveness, is also its shortcoming. I would therefore suggest it would be possible theoretically, and if nothing else, it's really interesting to talk about, to take the narratives and elements of culture that people already are passionate about, already invest in, and then we can religionize them. We can take the reverse-engineered aspects of religion and then translate those elements into culturally specific expressions. Potential examples of humanist denominations include popular culture. I playfully call this geek church. Imagine a Bible where through the liturgical year there are lessons about devotion and sacrifice and discipline taken from Marvel and DC Comics, Doctor Who, The Matrix, and Harry Potter. We can do this with environmentalism, where we pray to Heavenly Mother and the sins are those that destroy the planet, and the hell myth comes from Cormac McCarthy's The Road. We could also use academia, in college church, to whom would we pray? There's business, where we read business ethics. I don't know if we pray doing that one. Nationalism, technology, and music culture. Already a majority of John Lennon. And the narrative of all these humanist denominations is what a lot of people already believe, which is God is at work through these elements of culture. God is speaking to you through Stan Lee or through the Beatles. The outcome I hope for with these humanist denominations is that people would feel like they have come home, but that they never realized what their interests demand of them. In short, current myths would gain, in theory, religion's power to motivate and engage. Whether through these approaches or others, I hope that we can take human nature seriously and then use the technology of religion, in other words, to use culture, community, myth, ritual, to harness human nature and thereby begin to transform it. Thank you.